Hey guys, Kay here, and this is Lost Between Analog and Digital, an unscripted podcast from an angsty millennial. So today I wanted to talk about something that I've mentioned briefly, so I'm not sure if this is going to be a full episode or a bonus episode. I guess I'll just see how long the runtime is and what else I have coming out around the same time. So I wanted to take a moment and kind of talk about Colin. I had briefly mentioned him in the episode about Lawrence, one of the weird guys I went to school with. So I kind of told that story there in more or less like a cliff notes, and I wanted to kind of just expand on that a little bit. So that's why I'm not sure if this is gonna be a full episode or just a bonus or whatever. But I went to elementary school with Colin, and I would have had classes with him in I think grade 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then he transferred elementary school as a result of the whole altercation and everything. Not elementary school, to a different junior high, and then to a different high school with the French correspondence program. So, like, I've literally never seen the guy after grade 6 in my life that I am consciously aware of. So he was an odd guy, or he was a really odd kid. And, like, looking back, I do think Colin might have been on the spectrum. He had a weird walk and was kind of like he would kind of bounce up and down a little bit. It was almost like if you seen someone doing like squats or like squat thrusts or whatever, where they're up really tall and they're like as they take a step, but he wasn't doing like squat thrusts. It was just this like, I don't know if he would take a step and like stand to his like tiptoe and then like drop or whatever, but it was like always this little bobbing walk, because you would spot him across like the playground or the school like field or whatever, and you could always tell it was him coming. And he was absolutely obsessed with the game Diablo and Diablo 2. And first words out of his mouth every morning would always be, "Guess how many unique items I got in Diablo 2 last night?" Every day. So this is why I think he's on the spectrum, at least to some degree. He was a smart kid and everything. Like I'm not making fun of anybody that's neurodivergent or weird humor and whatnot, but it wears thin pretty fast. And he was kind of a dick and kind of would talk over people, and so I don't know if that is being on the spectrum or just being kind of a weird kid, because he was also kind of a little like malicious and stuff, but like he wasn't really like part of the main group. Like he was just kind of there. So like we tolerated him. He was fine. Like we didn't mind hanging out with him and stuff. But one morning, I'm pretty sure it was like middle or end of May or so. The winters used to kind of carry over when we were kids much longer, and like it'd be nothing to have snow on the ground like well into like the end of May, start of June sometimes. Like the snowbanks that haven't fully melted and stuff, not like snow. Um, but I remember just it was a really cold, like overcast morning and stuff. And so we're all kind of standing around the back catcher or whatever for the like kickball field, baseball field diamond thing. And Colin comes up and he, kind of bounces in, and we're all like cold, miserable, whatever. Just a shitty day. Nobody's really talking, whatever. We're just waiting for the bell to ring. And he like comes up and he starts with his bullshit, and Cameron's like, or he's like, how many, guess how many unique items I got in Diablo 2 last night? And Cameron's like, I don't give a f. And then Colin just snaps. Like, it wasn't like, f off or whatever. It was just like, and it was the sort of thing that we've probably said to each other, dozens of times. It was like, I guess what I did the weekend. Oh, I don't care. I was like, oh, okay. And then you tell your story, whatever. It wasn't anything that had meaning. It wasn't like, get the out of my face, you weirdo, or, I'm going to beat the shit out of you or something. Like, it was just like, I don't give a And it's like, you either shut up or you tell your story. Like, I'm not going to go through it was just more, I'm not going to go through the motions or whatever. And so Colin snaps and he contorts his body. Like, it was this bizarre, I can remember watching him. It was like he was turning into a Animorph, if you understand that reference. He like started hunching over and like twisting his head down, and he's bringing his arms up and his fingers into these like arthritic like claws, and he started hissing, and he like starts just morphing into this like, you know, arched back cat that he's standing kind of sideways to Cameron, and he's like, and Cameron's like, what the are you doing? And he starts like throwing like scratches at him, like just this like, and like he, you know, would like make this little lunging scratch, and he's like, you know, Cameron's like, get the away from me. And then Colin like just lunges on him and starts like scratching his face and everything. And it was just like we had to pull him off. And I'm not really sure what happened. The whole thing was a blur. I feel like I would have grabbed Cameron and kind of helped get him away and stop this thing from escalating. And I'm not sure who would have pulled him off. I think it would have been like me and Steve, or Steven grabbed Cameron and whatever. But it was like he snapped and turned into the most terrifying thing he could think of, which was a mean house cat. And like he was like hissing and like, but it was like a full body metamorphosis that, so, you know, Colin gets away, maybe he runs off, whatever, I don't remember, the bell rings. So we go to our respective classes. Everybody's getting like pulled out of class like one by one and taken down to the office. Like, you know, your name just comes over the speaker and that, because when, you know, Cameron walked into class and his face was all scratched up and it looks like he just fought a raccoon. Like, that's going to raise some questions when a you know, 10-year-old boy is, you know, scratched up. And so we all get pulled down to the office, and I don't really remember. I might not even been pulled down. I don't really remember, but what I do remember is like it was basically like it was always the who started it, whatever. Well, just leave him alone, stay away from him. And then there was a decision at some point along the way, because our my homeroom, or my teacher in grade 6 was the assistant vice principal, and he was involved with it since he knew some of the students, because I think we were spread out over like 3 classes. And so the big decision was that, well, our group is too big, that it's going to cause fights, and we're basically going to single Colin out or whatever. Like, I don't know if they thought we are going to like jump him, like all 20 of us or whatever, 15, 20 of us, you know. So the whole thing was, well, you guys aren't allowed to hang out in that big group anymore. And I mean, like we kind of controlled the like the soccer field and whatever. So, you know, there was enough of us that we could kind of stay claim to whatever we wanted. You know, big gang in grade 6. You know, 10 years old. I'm running the school with an iron fist or whatever they think. But yeah. So we all get split up into these smaller groups, and it's like we're only allowed to hang out in like 2s or 3s. So recess goes, and there's no real, you know, there's no real commotion or whatever. Nobody's really hanging out together or whatever. And lunchtime, I end up hanging out with Corey and Lawrence, and so that was our little like 3. And then so it's getting towards the end of lunch, and Lawrence wanders off. And so, like, me and Corey are talking, and, you know, it's probably about Pokemon or, you know, Dragon Ball Z, whatever. Mythbusters was really popular at the time. Something stupid. And I remember Corey shouting and taking off. So what had happened, and if you've seen the Lawrence episode, you know what's coming, is Lawrence had wandered over, found Colin, and started talking to him. Don't know what he said. And Colin anamorphed and starts scratching up Lawrence's face. And then Corey bolts over and tackles Colin. And I don't know exactly what happened, but somehow if Colin either tried to jump out of the way or if Corey hit him and he rolled over his back, but Colin gets airborne as like Corey goes, he like goes to tackle him or whatever. I don't even know if Corey tried to tackle him or if he was just trying to get over there fast enough. Like it just happened so quick. But what I can remember is Corey like bent over and Colin airborne over him, and his legs are like cascading, like he did like a flip over him, and then he lands and breaks his arm. And then we were not allowed to hang out with anybody from that group at all. Now, the weird thing is, there were 3 witnesses to what happened, other than Colin. And I think only Lawrence and Corey were interviewed about it. I wasn't. And I was like maybe 10 feet away, like tops. Like it was like we literally turned around and this like mauling was just happening behind us. And like Corey reacted before like I even processed it. And so, but I remember there was like a whole big thing, like all these other people getting pulled down, but like me being one of the only witnesses, and they didn't follow up or didn't talk to me or follow up or anything about that. But I remember like Cameron getting pulled down again, and I guess they were like wondering, was somebody put him up to beating up Colin or something. So yeah, our whole group got disbanded. None of us were really allowed to hang out. It was just the weirdest thing. But I've always had the sneaking suspicion, because Lawrence is such a piece of shit, that he went and was stirring up drama, or he either likes to stir up drama or he stirs up drama and then likes to be the guy that goes and fixes it, and so he can pretend to be the hero. So it was one of those two things that I'm 99% sure that was going on. Because I know he wasn't just going to check in and see how Colin was doing and, oh, sorry that happened. Like, do you need some catnip or whatever? But yeah, it was such a wild day. And it was like, just when it seemed like, okay, we're going to get to this day without anything else happening. Like, I don't know if Corey ever actually told his parents what happened. Because I remember somehow being at Corey's house for lunch one day, and somehow the conversation came up, and Corey was like, no, like kind of thing. And then he was really pissed off at me. He's like, I told my mom it wasn't me or something. So, well, I mean, the likelihood that his mom's going to listen to this, unless I find a way to send it to her. But no, past the statute of limitations. So, but yeah, so we start the junior high the next year. None of us have like really seen Colin or anything. I'm pretty sure he stayed in the school, and we just like were supposed to avoid him. Like, I don't know, he was the plague or whatever. I remember having to try to figure out who else that I was like friends adjacent with that I could hang out with, because our whole gang got disbanded. But yeah, so I remember it was like the first day of grade 7 at the junior high, and nobody had spoken to Colin or whatever, and then so the whole thing was like, is he going to be here? Are we going to see him? Are we going to have to put up with getting attacked with like dirty litter box claws if we say the wrong thing to him? And it turns out he went to the other junior high. But I just remember Steven being like, when we found out he was going to the other junior high, he was like, yeah, he's probably afraid we're all going to gangbang him. And like, me being like 10, 11 at the time, I didn't really clock that at the moment. But it was, I think it was Matthew's older brother, Mike, or one of the other guys was like, what? And Steven's like, yeah, no, he probably thinks we're all going to gangbang him. And he's like, you think he's not coming to the school because he thinks you guys are all going to like him? And Steven's like, what? So that's also the story of how I found out what gangbang means. So yeah, enjoy. Thanks for listening. Like I said, I haven't decided if this is going to be a regular episode or just the bonus. If you enjoyed this and want to support the show, best thing you can do is leave a review and tell a friend if you can. I appreciate you guys listening, and I'll see you guys in the next one.